Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for tuning in. Today we will have a question and answer, hoping to bring light to your questions that no one ever answered to your satisfaction. Here is your question. Why do you think so many people enter ministry? Is it really because they are called by God, or could there be other reason behind it? That's an important question. While some genuinely feel called by God to serve, others may see ministry as a career path or a source of financial stability. And unfortunately, there are times when it becomes more about building an institution than truly serving God or others. But isn't it normal for ministers to earn a living from their work? Doesn't the Bible even say those who preach the gospel should live from it? You're right. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 14 says that, but Paul, who wrote these words, often chose not to depend on financial support. Instead, he worked with his hands to avoid burdening anyone. The real issue is about priority. If someone's ministry is driven by money or personal gain, it's no longer about serving God. It's about serving themselves. So, do you think large gatherings and organized ministry are unnecessary? After all, Jesus preached to thousands at times. Large gatherings aren't inherently bad, but they're not the foundation of ministry. Jesus preached to crowds, yes, but his most meaningful moments were personal, healing the sick, talking to individuals, and meeting people's needs one-on-one. Ministry doesn't need a stage, it needs a heart willing to serve. If that's the case, can anyone do ministry, even if they don't have a formal title or belong to an organization? Absolutely. Jesus taught that ministry isn't about titles or position. It's about loving God and loving others. Anyone can minister by living out their faith in daily life, helping a neighbor, offering kindness, or sharing hope with someone in need. You don't need an audience or a paycheck to serve God. What about tithes and offerings? Churches often emphasize giving as part of worship, but wasn't that part of the Old Covenant law? That's a great point. Tithing was part of the Old Covenant system for supporting the temple and the Levites. After Jesus, giving became more about the heart. He never demanded specific amounts. Instead, he valued generosity and sincerity. In Mark chapter 12, he praised the widow who gave 2 small coins because she gave out of love, not obligation. So, in your view, ministry doesn't need to be tied to money or large organization. Exactly. Ministry is about faithfully serving God and others. Whether or not there's financial reward, God provides in his own way for those who are faithful. True ministry reflects Jesus' example, meeting people's needs, sharing truth, and loving selflessly. That sounds much simpler and more personal than what we see in many churches today. Do you think we've stayed too far from Jesus' example? In some ways, yes. The focus has shifted in many places toward building system instead of building relationships. But the good news is that anyone can return to the simplicity of Jesus' ministry, living out faith and love and humility. It's not about programs or platforms, it's about people. I hear what you're saying about ministry being simple and personal, but what about people who become overly zealous, fanatical in their faith? How do you approach a situation like that? Fanaticism can be tricky. It often comes from a place of sincerity, but it can become rigid or pushy, turning people away instead of drawing them closer to God. Personally, I avoid engaging with fanatics because I've learned it doesn't lead to understanding. Faith should bring peace, not pressure. But what if avoiding those conversations makes people think you don't care or that you're not as strong in your faith? That's a fair concern. But I've found that actions speak louder than words. I focus on living my faith instead of arguing about it. When people see the peace and clarity in your life, it speaks volumes more than debates over ever could. I've also heard people talk about backsliding. Some say it's a sign of spiritual weakness. What's your take on that? I think backsliding is often misunderstood. Sometimes what looks like falling away is actually a period of re-evaluation. Stepping back from tradition or rigid systems can be a way to rediscover a deeper, more authentic connection with God. Growth often comes through questioning and reflection. But doesn't questioning your faith confuse others? Could it lead them astray? It depends on how it's done. If questioning comes from a genuine place of seeking truth, it can inspire others to reflect and grow as well. The key is to share with humility, making it clear that everyone's journey is unique. I avoid debates because I believe God deals with each person differently. What's true for me may not be the same for someone else. So you're saying faith is deeply personal and we shouldn't impose our understanding on others? Exactly. Faith isn't about proving who's right or wrong. It's about your relationship with God. That relationship will look different for everyone, and that's okay. My job isn't to convince others, but to share what I've found and leave the rest to God. That's a peaceful way to approach it. Do you ever feel tempted to debate or prove your point, though? At times, yes. But I've learned that debates rarely lead to meaningful change. They often create division instead of understanding. I find peace by staying true to what I believe and trusting God to work in others' lives in His own way. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever we upload a new video. We do so love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment with suggestions for future topics. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.